G'day, ZiggyD here, and today I want to talk a bit about multiboxing in Path of Exile. It's becoming a little bit of a hot topic at the moment. Now, for those of you who don't know what multiboxing is, at its core it's running multiple versions of the same client either on separate computers or on the same computer, and controlling them all yourself to achieve some sort of benefit in the game. Usually this is farming more, getting more loot, like in Diablo 3 where you have instance loot, your multi-blocks running 4 clients to get 4 times the amount of loot for the same farming runs that you do. And in MMOs you might use it to grind out gold or whatever. In Path of Exile this is used to increase the item quantity of zones basically, and it's very simple how it's actually done in Path of Exile. So different companies handle multiboxing in their games in different ways. Blizzard was sort of okay with multiboxing as long as it was a one-to-one sort of deal, wherever you press one button, as long as all 4 clients only do one action per that one button press, then they were okay with that. Grinding Gear Games has an interesting stance on the situation that might be resulting in some problems now, and it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that in the future. So basically, multi-clienting, or having multiple clients open, which is multiboxing by definition, but not in the sense that most people understand it. So having multiple clients running and controlling them all separately is not considered an issue within Path of Exile. The developers are happy for that to happen. You're sure it's not great because you're creating multiple accounts, putting more strain on servers and gaining some sort of advantage, but there's not really much of a way for them to police that, and they don't really plan on policing that so much. So far it seems, from what they've said in the past. However, Grinding Gear Games is very against botting in their game, so anything that automates actions or controls your character in more than a one-to-one sort of way. So I think that this probably can stretch to include multi-boxing applications that control multiple characters at once, because essentially you're controlling the one character, but as you're doing that, all of the other characters are being controlled as well. That's sort of something that ends up being very borderline. Now, the problem in Path of Exile is what's actually happening with multiboxing is people are creating, many accounts, they're creating many characters and having them be level 1. So you'll see things like this if I pull up this image here. As you can see, there's a bunch of rangers here, they're all level 1 and they're all named fairly similarly, and they're all standing in Act 2 as well, which is a dead giveaway that something suspicious is going on. Basically, what people will do is they'll have one main character that's leveled up high enough to do Val runs and do them very efficiently in increased item quantity and increased item rarity gear. So they'll run to Val, and then what they'll do is they'll have all of these separate clients that are just logged in and sitting, running in the background on their computer. They'll control each one of those characters individually to jump into the instance. Then what they'll do is they'll start the Val encounter, so they'll activate the little node thing that makes Val pop up, and then they'll just either let those other characters die or just teleport them out of the instance. Now what this achieves is, as long as those characters are there for when Val is activated, the increased item quantity bonus is given to the Val kill. So that means when they kill their character, when they kill Val with their main character, they're getting a massive increased item quantity bonus. Now people are using this to farm something like 50 chaos or more an hour basically, through getting various uniques and things like that, but also through getting a ton of unidentified rares and using that with the Chaos Orb vendor recipe. So where if you vendor one of every item, every slot unidentified, you get 2 Chaos Orbs for that, and you can accrue that very quickly if you're stacking a lot of rarity and quantity, in addition to all of the bonus quantity you're getting from the Val kill from having so many characters up. So here's the issue really, here's the issue at its core. This does not violate any of Path of Exile or Grinding Gear's rules or anything that they've stated in the past is against the rules of the game. Essentially, you're controlling each character individually, they're fine with people having multiple accounts, and you're doing something completely within the constraints of the game, something within the rules of the game. So this increased item quantity system is there and it's a part of the game, and this isn't really exploiting in any way. Now that's all well and good, but I'm sure many people agree with me on this, that it violates the spirit of the game. Now people have said that they've talked to Chris Wilson about this, and that Grinding Gear Games are working on something to try and fix this. But how do they go about fixing something when it doesn't break the rules? They can either adjust the rules or they can adjust the actual game mechanics. Now, I don't see how they could adjust the rules to prevent multi-clienting that doesn't allow people to create multiple accounts and do things like that. Because if you start limiting the amount of accounts people can have on like one IP address or in one location, then you have problems where, you know, multiple family members can't play the same game. People living in college dorms can't play the game together, and that creates a lot of issues like that. It's just really not fair for those players. And then on the other hand, modifying the game mechanics, so maybe removing the ability to get increased item quantity from having multiple people in the encounter, that ruins party play essentially in the game. So it's something that's going to be very difficult to deal with, and I don't really have any solid ideas other than fine-tuning certain encounters to not take advantage of increased item rarity for maybe characters that are wildly different levels and things like that. But there's always going to be ways around this, and I think people will always be able to multi-box in some sort of way. Now, this might not, it doesn't directly impact most people. Like, you choose not to multi-box and you choose not to multi-box and you play the game legitimately yourself. However, this does really strongly affect the economy. Having this many Chaos Orbs enter the economy, which is, a reasonably high level currency, can have a really big impact on, the price of items. And when you see this sort of inflation in a game with the currency, with the, the monetary system in the game, you get things like newer players not being able to afford, not being able to trade for any gear that they need. So that can be a serious issue that will impact a wider variety of people. So this is something that is worth, thinking about, even if you aren't personally, have an issue with multi-boxing. So it's something to consider at least. Anyway, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about the whole multi-boxing issue, whether you think it is a serious problem and maybe how grinding gear games could deal with it. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm Ziggy D, and thanks for watching.